Hello, everyone. My name is Darlington Nwachukwu, and the title of my study is The Effect of ChatGPT Application in Reducing Climate Anxiety Among Low-Income Farmers in Alabama. And the problem that calls for this study is the issue of climate change in the form of hurricane and flooding, which have devastated the source of livelihood for most farmers, causing them psychological traumas like climate anxiety. And this issue, if not addressed properly, will lead to most of these farmers losing their source of livelihood. And although several studies have tried investigating chat bots and their impact on reducing mental health challenges, there tend to exist scarce empirical literature that have addressed the use of ChatGPT to reduce climate anxiety among farmers within the context of Alabama. And this creates a gap which this study tried to empirically fill. And hence, the objective of this study is to explore how ChatGPT's informational and emotional support can help lower climate anxiety. And in order for me to carry out the study, I conducted literature review to understand the concept of my independent and dependent variable, to know what they are, how other authors have defined them, so that I'll have a better understanding of their usage in my work. And both the conceptual, empirical, and theoretical literature review was conducted. And the theoretical underpinning to this study is the computers are social actors, which is the CASA theory. And this theory assumes that people interact with AI as if it were humans, and they tend to attribute empathy and trust to it. And based on the assumptions of this theory, two directional hypotheses were formulated and tested in this study. And this includes HA1. Informational support reduces anxiety more than no support. HA2. Emotional support reduces anxiety more than informational support alone. And looking at the methodology for this study, the research design adopted for the study was the post-test only control group experiment, because I am looking at the cause and effect of the use of ChatGPT in reducing climate anxiety among farmers in Alabama. The population of the study includes low-income farmers in rural Alabama who depends on a stable weather condition for their livelihood. And in order to determine the sample size for this study, I used a G power to generate a sample size of 102 low-income farmers in the rural Alabama. And in order to select this sample size of 102 from the total population, I used the cluster sampling technique to group the farmers into clusters based on counties across Alabama. And a total of 8 counties were selected for this approach. And the sample was broken into 2 major groups, which includes the experimental group, which received the treatment of informational and emotional support, and the control group, which did not receive any treatment at all. For the experimental procedure, after selecting the sample, the study followed a structural experimental process. First, ethical considerations were taken by explaining the experiment and getting the permissions of and the consents of the farmers to voluntarily participate in the study. They weren't coerced. I got their consent and their voluntary participation to join either in the experimental or the control group. Secondly, to ensure fairness and avoid bias, I randomly divided the sample into 2 groups of the experimental and control using random number generator to ensure each and every one of the participants had equal chances of being placed in either the experimenter or the control group, so that there is no bias. And thirdly, the independent variable was manipulated using emotional and informational support. And the variable level was nominal, which is a condition of yes or no answer. And the dependent variable was measured using climate anxiety scale. And the variable level was a scale, which is a 5-point Likert scale survey of 1, never, which 1 equals to never, up to 5, which equals to always. And looking at the data collection tool for this study was the questionnaire. And this was measured using the climate change anxiety scale. The instrument was validated via an expert checking. And talking about its reliability, the climate change anxiety scale is reliable because it is already a validated tool developed by Clinton and Carazia 2020 with a high retest reliability and a Cronbach alpha of 0.85. Manipulation check was conducted to ensure that the treatment, which is the ChatGPT informational and emotional support, worked as expected. And after administering the treatment to the experimental group, the survey questionnaire was given to both the experimental and control group to fill out. And the completed questionnaire were retrieved and the data was cleaned, removing unanswered and not properly answered questions. And the information was now imputed into the SPSS software for analysis. And looking at the data analysis, the statistical tool used to test the earlier stated hypothesis was the independent sample t-test. And the findings of the analysis show that informational support reduced anxiety more effectively with a mean of 5.53 and a standard deviation of 0.28. And secondly, the analysis found that emotional support also helped, but was less effective with a mean of 5.27 and a standard deviation of 0.39. The result is statistically significant, where t equals to 3.88 and the p-value is less than 0.001. The effect size was moderate to large with a Cohen-D's value of 0.77. Based on the analysis conducted, the study concluded that ChatGPT's informational support works better than emotional support to lower climate anxiety among farmers. This shows that giving practical advice is more helpful than just emotional encouragement. And based on this conclusion, the study recommends the following. 1, the use of ChatGPT informational and emotional support to help farmers. Secondly, that you should make ChatGPT easy to use. And thirdly, it recommends the combination of both ChatGPT with other sorts of help, like getting professional help from human agents. And based on the recommendation, the following suggestions for further studies were given. 1, look for a longer term effect. This is because this study was conducted within a short time. That future research should see if ChatGPT help farmers feel better about climate change over a longer period of time. Secondly, that it should be tried in a different place, because this study was conducted only in Alabama. That it would be good to see if ChatGPT work for farmers in other states and counties. Thank you.